I feel like I've been talking for 1,000 years, but with the Lord, 1,000 years is as one day, and one day as 1,000 years. Amen. Alrighty, guys, let's just continue to talk. I've taken a shower. Don't know if it's clear. Shine. Anyway, yeah, and I'm still wearing the same clothes. Like I said, who am I changing for? Who? I don't even sweat. I just sit around all day. Okay, Lord, please grant me the strength to do this. I really want to finish this series tonight. I really do. Like, I really do. But I don't know if we're gonna do that. Anyway, maybe if we just start talking, it might just happen. Okay, in the previous part, how you doing? Okay, let me raise my voice. I was quiet for a while because I was doing all that. So now I'm here. Okay, please go check out the previous part, Gauge Your Bearings. There I was busy talking about family members of randos out here in these streets that break women's hearts. Like, as in, guys, abo mama, nabo sisters. If men don't get the act together, why would you want to subjugate some other woman's daughter and some other man's daughter to the tyranny of your son? Like, proper, why would you want to do that? When I was a teenager, I remember my cousin and I were like driving somewhere, and then we went to this one guy's house, right? The guy was the boyfriend of one of my friends, one of our friends, and the mom naleding anza chigana all over the show, and she kept being like, Ntlaka said gentes. Basically she was like, my house is not a gentleman's house, like basically a house where y'all gonna bring girls over and do your thing type thing. And I was like all nervous, like scared at this mama lady, and my eyes were like wide open, and I'm like all scared when she's busy talking. But I'm standing there, and these guys are also just standing there and making it appear as if though, look, my mom is just one of those bluffers. Frankly, she's not gonna kick you out. The mom had like a whole puza face in and of himself. She was a drunk. It's like one of those households, right? So we're just like staring. I'm just like staring at the situation, and I'm scared, okay? Next to my cousin, who also is like, type thing. Next thing, the mother, because I'm busy looking at her all scared and nervous and like shy, she then looks at me. She's like, ooh, Batung, let's say her son's name was Peter. Her other son's name. So the girl whose boyfriend's house it was, let's say that guy's name was Vazi, right? So Vazi had a brother. And let me like tell you like a story, right? So this woman, I'm busy looking at her like I'm scared, and she's like, ooh, she calms down, right? So she's first she's like, yeah, I said gentes. This is not a gentleman's house, no, yeah. I will interpret those of you who speak English, so kulilegan, relax. Okay. Yeah, and then she looks at me, she's like, ooh, umuntlanyana jwang, ke feel nkare ke go batlela Peter. I said his name was Peter, right? Ke feel nkare ke go batlela Peter. O ka tshwanela Peter o itse o nida ngwanyana o itlhekileng. Oh, yeah, ke feel nkare o itse keng Vazi is her other son. Vazi, ha ona na hore tshwantse ke lo kopantsha ngwana ona le Peter. Hey, like these people are playing matchmaker all up in my grill. And Vazi's like, ay ma, ayekela umunye umntana uPeter. Ayekela umunye umntana uPeter uzomravaza lo muntu. Mwateng is like, hey, ngwena una utothusa Peter. And I'm just standing there, my eyes are like wide open, right? And the brother Vazi is like, hey, ma, ayekela umunye umntana. Futhi usasemncane ma uPeter mdala no. Yeah, hey, mara utla mulukisa Peter, ke feel nkare mulukisa Peter. Hey, alright for Peter. And then this guy's like, ay mara kodwa mama uPeter iginza. Lo muntu lo na ubona ukuthi innocent kanjani umyeke umntana uPeter iginza. Hey, mara utla montsha buginze wait, I'm just standing there, and my cousin is cracking up. My cousin is like laughing her buttocks off, basically just giggling in a corner on some hukakarabo up lele abuti wa Vazi, and abuti wa Vazi ke legenza. All right, let me interpret that. This mother was like, oh, you're such a pretty little thing. I feel like you're gonna be perfect for Peter, my son. And then she's like, ooh, Vazi, my other son, don't you think she would be perfect for Peter? And then Vazi's like, no, mom, this chick, like, leave her alone. She's, like, really innocent. And besides, like, Peter's, like, a really bad boy. Peter is a gangster. And she's just an innocent young woman. No, but she will fix Peter. She's going to be perfect for him to get Peter off the streets. And this guy's like, this girl is even young. She's too young for Peter. Peter's too old. No, but I feel like she's going to be perfect for Peter. And this conversation just went on and on. And my cousin was busy laughing at the situation, right? Yeah, okay, so like that never happened. I never even got to meet Peter. I never even went back to that house. I never got to see any of that. But nonetheless, this mother saw some innocence in me, and then made a decision that I should be with her son. Her son, of which his brother, confessed that no, first of all, our brother is much too old for this girl. Secondly, our brother is a gangster. He is a bad guy. Leave this innocent woman alone, because this brother of mine is going to just ransack this young woman until she has no future. Yeah. But the mom was like, no, but I feel like she's going to fix my child. Yeah. Alright, ne? Bazali ba abanye abantwana ababolile abamosha impilo zabanye abantombazane. Let's talk. Alright. Mothers, we understand y'all love your sons and stuff like this. Just put that out there. We gonna have some respect for the fact that as a mother, you oughta love your baby boy. But there are girls being born to moms and dads whose moms and dads actually care that they should have a future. And these women, there are other human beings around on the left and on the right of them who actually care that they should have a future. So in the same way that you want your son to have a future, there are some people that want some people's daughters to also have futures. And if at all your son is busy busting a cap in the knee of his future, you don't get to make some girl that has a future essentially function like a bulletproof vest to your son's own insanity. Because on that day, you're putting this uncomfortable and unfortunate woman in harm's way. My whole series that I am busy talking about right now is to counsel women to stop trying to fix men who don't want to be fixed. Because Adam's sin is to lord it over Eve with an iron fist, and he will not listen to her. Apart from Adam embracing the second Adam and realizing that he must love his wife like Christ loved the church, he will not naturally gravitate towards it. So herein lies the circumstance eventuality of this thing. If you foster Adam to be with an Eve that is going to hope to improve him, Eve will end up a battered wife, an abused woman, a fatigued woman, an exhausted lady, and in so being exhausted will in and of herself become a monster. And now here it is that we've got two hard knock honcho sinners that are going to hell very upset that they shattered each other's lives. Only way out is Jesus. So much as I want kids, I recognize that the day might arrive in my life when I have them, that I might have to deal with a kid, a boy, a son, that frankly is the bane of women's existence. A lot of times when we give birth to children, we don't know what's going to happen with them, what they're going to do. Are they going to choose right? Are they going to love God? Are they going to love drugs? Are they going to die young? Are they going to... No, we don't know. But it is the responsibility of the human race, for we are our brother's keeper, to protect women from bad men. And sometimes women, unfortunately, you give birth to them. You give birth to young men that are destructive in the lives of other people's daughters. And if at all these daughters wake up and smell the coffee and they straighten up and fly right, they have a right to walk away. And you, as a mama, yes, you love your son, you oughta. If you don't, you are apparently worse than an infidel according to the scriptures, and you have denied the faith. So you gotta love your kid, you gotta provide for your kid, but you don't get to love your kid at the expense of some other man and woman's kid. Women must be protected in society. South Africa is a country that just does not protect women. So I'm here to help women protect themselves. And when women then make a decision to protect themselves against the eventualities of bad sons, mothers, leave them to go. Cousins, aunties, and the like, let them go. Let them go. Boy children, I would imagine, are a delight to have. And if they come out alright, if they turn out good peoples, how much more of a delight it is. But unfortunately, the grand majority of delinquent activities happening in the youth tend to commence from boys. Boys are the ones that wreak the most amount of havoc in their youth, amidst the youth. Bamosha, intombazane. They're the ones that sleep around all over the show. They're the ones that impregnate multiple baby mamas. They're the ones that start the whole drug trend. They're the ones that get girls to start boozing. They're the ones that break virginities of girls that were not ready. They're the, etc. Bayamosha in their wake. And so if a young woman wakes up amazing, grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. If a woman wakes up early and she is not prepared to participate in the mutiny against her own life any longer, when she then snaps out of whatever insanity she was in to date a player before he gives her HIV, you better let her go. Better let her go. Let the poor woman leave your son, because your son needs to be left. If a man, a young man, is not heeding the counsel of his mom, he will never heed the counsel of his woman. If a man has no respect for his mom's own admonitions, a woman ain't gonna compare. Because frankly, they love their mothers more than their girlfriends. And they don't want their mothers hurt more than they don't want their girlfriends hurt. So if they can hurt their moms, more so are you just going to be another Tuesday when it comes to breaking your heart. So because women tend to reach maturity and the status of leaving a guy on cheetah, like first, because they tend to be the ones to get the step in first, because they tend to be the ones to eventually snap out of being naive first. When then they leave your deadbeat son behind with powder on his face, just leave them. Maybe another woman might be naive enough to be with your son, or maybe your son might have learned a lesson from the woman who left him, and then he will get his act together for the next lady. But you don't get to subjugate women to the tyranny of your boy. You proper don't. Well, having said that, okay, females with sons, like, set it in your heart to fathom the prospect of letting your son basically suffer the consequences of doing what he did. If your son is still 16, he might turn 27 and lose the best woman in his life. You don't get to go and ping the poor woman with your sorcery to make sure that she stays with your baby boy. Nobody wants to bury their boys or girls. No one wants to bury their children. So if your son keeps on snuffing lines of cocaine, I can understand you wanting to get the guy rehab, but that rehab ain't the girlfriend. You are putting some other people's daughters in harm's way. It's that basic. That woman, when I was a kid, that kept on saying about her son, "You're so cute, you're so pretty, I feel like you would be perfect for my gangster son." Whoa. I mean, I just kept quiet and listened to this conversation. I knew I was never ever going to accommodate dating Ikenza. I was too smart. I was doing maths and science in school, frankly. I might look young and naive, but I'm really intelligent. So I just was riding that storm out, knowing that I was going to go home and never ever see that family again. But there are women who pride themselves in being the favorite girlfriend of a guy's mom, the favorite girlfriend in the eyes of a guy's mom, and that is enough for them to run with. They pride themselves in having a house on fire relationship with the mother, and so therefore abahambi, because it is very hard to win mother's affections, especially when the guy is mommy's little boy. So if you win the mother's affection, sometimes you just want to stay because it's like you've got a handler of your boyfriend. Nah, you're just gonna create resentment in the guys. My ex used to fight with his mom over the fact that the mom always used to want to talk to me for him, and he was like, "God was my girlfriend, I got this, it's my woman, please leave it alone." So when then you keep on pressurizing the son and you're like, "No, but you better do better by Karabo," on top of that he's going to feel like you're not supporting him in his breakup. Let him heal and stop rubbing salt into his open wounds over a girlfriend that doesn't want to get back together with him, because on that day he will struggle even more. And then he will then pontificate witchcraft. He will be like, "My mom thinks she's the best woman that I've ever had," and she keeps on rapping on about it, and then the next thing guy just can't stop doing witchcraft. So maybe if you just let him move on, he might actually leave Karabo alone with sorcery, because now you're not going to burden even the next woman that comes in with the fact that my son is still in love with his ex, or my mother is still in love with my son's ex. For crying out loud, as if though it's your relationship. I suffered the bad blow of such a thing as that. That stint when I was a teenager was a foreshadowing of a mom who would irresponsibly want me to stay with her gangster, ginsery son. Thank God the Lord is not a respecter of persons. He indeed has given headship, lordship with a small L, to men over women. But when these men don't honor God, the Lord is in the business of rescuing them from irresponsible sons out here in these streets. We see it happening over and over again with Sarah, unfortunately, at the beck and call of Abraham's irresponsible decision with Pharaoh and Abimelech. We see the Lord rescuing women. Abigail, God rescued her from Nabal. Just irresponsible guys and women are like subjugated to the tyranny of the patriarchy that is irresponsible with their leadership in the sight of God. So God snatches them out. God rescues the day. The Lord is not a respecter of persons. He might have given men headship over women, but the moment men abuse that headship, the Lord sees the plight of the lady, remembers her sorrow, and just extracts her from a bad ecosystem. And that's what he did with me. So if our Heavenly Father can care for women as much as he cares for men, enough to enable women to survive bad men, why are mothers not heeding God's compassion for women that are suffering under the tyranny of men's abuse of their lordship, small L, over women? Ukubekezela, ukukhotlela is an admirable concept, because even the Bible says we must endure evil patiently. But why, oh why, under heaven, are you begezellaring darkness in a man that is darkening you, insofar as it is making you a meanie, a nasty little girl, a little witch because he cannot keep it in a bunch amidst other ladies, and then you become the Satanist because, oh my goodness, like a guy has really made you a painful lady. You were supposed to leave before he made you dark, and that's exactly what I did. Remember I told you that I got born again because literally my ex-boyfriend had acted such a violent fool that I became homicidal, kind of murderous. Yeah, I was becoming horrid. I was becoming menacing. That's what was going on. And so I ran to where I ought to run, and the Lord enabled me to successfully leave. A man that was going to make me a Gorgon, Medusa, a meanie of a woman that hates men and frankly is murderous. I was bordering on becoming... Who is this, like a female monster? Charlize Theron in that movie, thank you. A woman that was once upon a time very tranquil, sweet, generous, gentle, just a nice little girl. And now umuntu sedanyane, orange is the new black. Ubuleli boyfriend. Kaze, who's gonna forgive me then? Uma wakho na mega zongizonda mus. Ha qeta jwanong go bolaya ngwana gage. Thipa e rotha madi a obuti. Mwateng o tlo ngtloya. A re ka re o maraneleng yoko ya cherry. No mara mme ke wena. You're the one that insisted I stay with your son until he broke me till I literally sliced his throat. I just shot a man down in Central Station in front of a big whole crowd. But like you're the one that brought him back like a pin, like proper boomerang. Angimfuni. Uyangizwisa ubuhlungu lo muntu nangifuna ukuyochata enye indoda ezongithanda ma. Ngiyathanda sure. Ngithanda your son. But yena kangithandi the way I need to be tandified. So I'm gonna go and right ahead and heal for a minute, following which I'm gonna find another man that's gonna tanderize me. But the mama was like, but you're the one that's good for my gangster. You're the one that's good for my mean little monster. You're the one that's going to tame and subdue my little mongrel. Yeah, well, mama, I just shot your son down in Central Station in front of a big whole crowd. I'm sorry, I never meant to do it. Oh gosh, whatever happened to me, ever happened to me. Why did I pull it trigger, boom, and end a brother life so soon? I'm a criminal. Oh Lord have mercy, what I do now? You wanna turn me into Rihanna? Keep me with your boy, is that good? It's literally that basic. Do you know to this day I still have compassion and understand what happened? Daga Cindy Mankalele Flaba. I get it. And literally that man passed away, Kile a Christian. And when that case was roaming these streets in the media, everybody out in these streets giving Cindy grief. Go to Tabaria, it's these beautiful ones that are rubbish. I was like, no, I mean, I understand. Because at the time, when Cindy killed Flaba, I was freezing, dying, in some, like, messed up conditions. My family to rot. And my ex-boyfriend was acting a fool already. And I could not stand men. And all I could think about was, I get it. Cell block tango, pop, 6, Cicero, lip shits. He had it coming. He ran into my knife. 10 times. I was in that mode. I got it. Because I had been so afflicted by a man that I was supposed to leave literally just 6 months into the relationship, but I stuck around for another 4, and now here it is, and my family was abusing me, helping his cause along. So manje, when the woman that you love ends up the murderer of your son, hey, you're the one that insisted, mus. I stayed with him until one day, literally a nerve popped like stressed Eric, went around my neck, tried to strangle me, and in order to survive in self-defense, he ran into my knife. 10 times. I was gonna kill a man. I was mad at that dude. All he had to do was pull up one more time at my apartment. And I was murderous. I was furious. Anger is overwhelming. Fury, according to God, is a flood. Anger is murder, according to the scriptures. And I got rescued just in time because God cared. That I should not go Sun City Women's Division. I'm not doing it. I don't want to kill a brother. Right now, battling like no man's business, mara ong patla high and low. The way I'm matling ka teng that guy, why under heaven he's following me. I'm currently being pursued by some random dude from the United States of America, and he wants me high and low. He's such a deadbeat that if at all he were to come into my space and I accommodated him and he predictably broke my heart the way that he's been breaking other women's heart, I am so at the end of myself that I thoroughly believe that I might commit murder. When a woman kills a man, man, she's the one that is told or spoken of as the monster. Except in the run-up to what in the world would make a woman kill. There is a show on, is it TLC, called Women Who Kill. Yeah, no, why under heaven is there no show called Men Who Kill? Precisely because it is so rare for women to commit murder. So when it happens, you must understand a lot went down. Moto obone madi, moto obone red, moto obone purple and blue. Like the whole rainbow was just scrambling their brain until they unleashed 7 rounds into the body of a man. It takes a lot to push a woman to that place. And when she gets there, like literally for the better part of the time, he had it coming. Mina, I don't want to go to prison, first of all. And I also don't want my reputation tarnished with a whole bunch of people being like, yeah, even that's what Cindy Manchele, that's what they kept saying about her after Flaba was murdered. Alright, Pete. Yeah, it's these pretty ones. You be going on social media, finding my photos, realizing I'm fly. And the next thing you're like, yeah, and women are busy dragging through the mud a woman, frankly, that never would have killed that guy unless she was pushed. Women don't just murder men. Men, however, just murder women. So mamas, leave us alone. Since you love your sons, love them enough to save their lives. Because the moment you upset women to a point of seeing red, pink, purple, and blue, on that day you have put your son's blood on a knife. My ex had a brother that already passed away from cancer. They were going to lose a second son. It's literally that basic. I was there. And the wrath was at that height. But then I cried to Jesus. And he rescued me from the palms of Abimelech and Pharaoh as Sarah after my husband Abraham denied that I am his. And here it is that all these years down the line, I'm fighting a spiritual battle against the same guy. But I'm using spiritual weapons that are protecting me from getting blood on my uncomfortable hands. Because why I mean boy when I'm a whole woman. Yeah, that's what's good. Don't drive women to murder. Because they can get crazy, and their crazy is on another level in comparison to man crazy. I don't want to be crazy because of a guy. My mom and my sister got me thrown into a psychiatric hospital using my medical aid, acting as if though I'm the one that voluntarily checked myself in. I was discharged within a day. However, in the run-up to that day ending, I met some ladies up in that like penitentiary wannabe, and one of the women that was there because she was perpetually getting nervous breakdowns because of a man that wouldn't stop cheating and disregarding the fact that she's in a lot of pain and not coming home sometimes for a week, maybe 3 days. And she would constantly, like she was known, she was a regular there. And she used to get nervous breakdowns. Guess who dropped her off at the clinic? The husband. I was like, is that my future? Really? Like literally getting checked into a psychiatric hospital to see a shrink when the root cause is not dealt with. A psychiatric hospital. I'm sorry. I'll go to a psychiatric hospital because I don't know, I'm getting dementia, or I'm really old, or I've got schizophrenia, or I don't know, somebody killed my kid and so I've lost my mind. But for a man, forget it. Check myself into a psychiatric hospital over a deadbeat husband. Angizoyenza diding. Girl, were the signs not there prior to you getting married? When I was dating my ex, there was this colored chick that was dating one of my ex's boys. Go the same company as my ex-boyfriend. This dude was so all over the show that sometimes he would have sex with colleagues that would allow him in his car during lunch. That's how much he used to cheat on this woman. And she knew it, and she would keep on finding out. The stories my ex would tell me about this guy's dalliances with various ladies he just met like just the other day. Today, Njefela, you meet her, and if she's content to be with you, you're ramming into her, you don't even take her to a hotel. That kind of guy. This chick would cry and complain. But why are you doing this to me? And they would keep getting back together. I couldn't understand why she didn't leave. Guess what the colored girl did? She fell pregnant. I was like, lo, ngulaza, 5'2". I couldn't get it. She knew, everybody knew, but she was in love. Oh, really? No, I'm sorry. I'm, 1, not getting HIV. 2, not being booked into a psychiatric hospital over a man, please. There are so many other things I can lose my mind over. Definitely not that one. I nearly lost my mind over a guy. I'm not doing it again. Mothers. Los Yelasians 8. To basically bear the ramifications of their actions. I have been subjugated through the tyranny of cousins, aunties, mom, slapping the living daylights out of me with witchcraft to make me stay with a guy I could not for the life of me handle anymore because he was just killing my heart. When you love a woman for your son, it's a good thing, because women really struggle to gain the affection of mothers-in-laws. But when they want to go, just let them go, because sometimes your son must be left. He must be left. Don't go putting together women with gangster men, that you might make them widows young, that you might make them murderers, that you might make... No, please. When women lose their noodles, they become more dangerous even than men. I don't even understand why mothers insist. Guys. And there's nothing more maddening, nothing more infuriating than a man that keeps on doing the same things over and over and over again. They change women. They callous them. They make them monsters. If they don't end up killing these guys, they become horrible mothers. They suffer from postpartum depression after pregnancy. They can't take care of kids properly. They become mean to women. They hate the youth. They hate young women. They're insufferable. Baloya. Guys. I came into an irresponsible little child's life, and his family celebrated the living daylights out of me, especially the women therein, especially the women. And then I left the bugaboo. He acted a fool. I nearly lost my mind. I got saved. And a couple of months down the line from my redemption, I got a phone call from his cousin, a female. Hi, Karabo, how are you? Oh my goodness, I'm good, girl. You? Que grande. Que Riti. Let's say que Riti. Let's say her name was Riti. Que Riti. Oh, Riti, oh my goodness, it's been a minute. How are you? How's your baby? How's your husband? I hope you're good. Girl, que Riti. Yeah, so what's up? No, I was just wondering, how to talk about sebag. We haven't seen you in a while. Well, maybe that's because I'm not dating your cousin anymore. Riti Batung. Yeah, but why though? Riti, things didn't work out. Your cousin was, not necessarily very sweet and kind. And I explained everything, including the whole scenario with the papers. What do you call this thing? His business papers, where he came to my building acting like a swaggified James Bond that ain't begging no woman. And made me sign papers, breaking my heart, shattering me, basically removing the prospect ever of us getting back together off the table. Story. I explained to Riti that entire story. And she was like, wait, ish. No matter, you guys, you've been together all this time, and on top of that, you guys know each other's family, man. You've met us, we've met your family. Why would you guys meet each other's family if you're not gonna get married? Riti. Yeah, girlzina. No, Riti. Besides, I'm in Christ now, and Riti is not even interested in Jesus. Okay, I see. Ish. No, Mara, wait, see, why don't you guys just talk? I'm sure he also is a great, you can maybe reach him, Lena. Riti, no, it was a to and from. I think we spoke for half an hour. Go parking lot, I remember. Until she was like, okay, girl, yeah, bye-bye. We're gonna miss you. Yeah, sure, Riti. I guess I'll miss you too, girl, Yeah. Okay, fine, it's one thing to negotiate on behalf of your cousin, but then when a couple of weeks down the line I get a dream with you reconnecting me with Nonsi, I'm sorry, Riti, that's when we're gonna have to take this to the grass, girl. We're gonna have to take this to the grass, roll around in that grass, and I'm gonna literally get some Vaseline, take off the wig, and punch your sister. That's what's good. Sisters. That's what I'm doing. Because I explained my situation. I explained it. And I also made it clear that it was your boy that literally put a gavel down. And I was shocked at that. I recovered, I healed, and now you want me back in Riti's life. Not Riti, in Nonsi's life. I couldn't even understand why Nonsi, because at that stage Nonsi had not called me himself. Nonsi had not tried to connect with me. He had not made a decision to be like, ish, Karabo, I'm sorry, what I did was messed up, girl, can we talk? Now his cousin was busy standing in the gap for a man that wasn't even calling me. He had not called me. I was not even curious to find out from Riti, if at all, my ex wanted me back, and that's why she's talking to me, because maybe he's scared to talk to me. Next time all I know is that she called on his behalf. Lo and behold, not even lo and behold, actually, moonwalk backwards a couple of months, just at the very beginning of my newfound redemption and my newfound freedom. I was on training, I remember, nearly team building komsebenting. That was off-site, as in we were sleeping there and everything. Bonding. Colleague, what's good? What? Bonding with my colleagues. It was a team building, Yoko MTN. and it was a sleepover team building, a big one for the department. Like, it was a lot of us there. And I get a phone call during, no, my cousin had called me. I'd missed her call, so I called her back during this lunch. We were having lunch now. And I'm like, girl, what's up, sister? And my cousin is like, ish, girl, nonsi. Apparently, like, the dude is like falling apart. He like relapsed and went on drugs and stuff, and his family put him in rehab. Yazi, at that stage, I was still kind of newly saved, and I was again like still kind of more or less in the same unsanctified mode that I was in with my ex. I told you I used to keep him together with sticky tape, and I fainted. I was about to faint. I was like, oh my god, I told you guys in my previous past that I was always very scared of losing him, of him dying. And on the phone with my cousin, I'm like, oh my goodness, but like, really, what is the how long am I supposed to do this? My goodness. I get off the phone with my cousin, right, and I'm about to like start bawling. I'm about to start crying because I'm worried that this dude is going to kill himself. But I don't want to be with him because he's acting a fool. He's going to end up ODing or something. And I like dot her on along like an old lady to one of my colleagues who was a friend of mine. And I'm like, oh, I just found out that Nancy has taken drugs and he's in rehab. I'm so worried. I was like slap bang in the middle of my sob story. My girl was like, this colleague. She was like, Karabo, it is not your problem. I was like, eh? She's like, this is not your problem. You will continue to pendulum back to that guy. Only busy binder up his wounds. Motlogele I ride this thing out. Utlai podis. I know what She was like, if he wants to live, he will live. If he wants to kill himself, he will kill himself. You can't keep on binding up his wounds. So I went from being bordering on crying. First day at team building, yeah, I'm still gonna be there for another 2 days. I was gonna be a sob story, like all concerned and taking it busy, making phone calls, calling his mom, how's Nancy? Calling Nancy, hey, I heard you were this. I was gonna literally ruin my collegial experience at this beautiful resort that we were at. Not resort, like it was an offsite thing. You go Maldives Drift, and it was proper like a little holiday, but like for staff. Nature, and I am about, for crying out loud, to spend 3 days in the middle of breaks Libusiu when I go to my particular room to make calls and pamper a person that's going to want to be like, can we meet maybe for lunch? My friend was like, if he wants to die, he'll die. If he wants to live, he'll live. This is no longer your responsibility. Move on. I literally just like I fixed my face and I let it go. I didn't even call my cousin back to let her know that I'm fine now, because I don't even understand why she told me. How did my cousin find out? I told you I met this guy through my cousin. Her boyfriend, he eventually became husband, but her boyfriend was close to Nancy, my ex. And so, stuff like floated around in the grapevine and the information reached me. I was going to find myself just reeled back into this thing. It was a cycle historically, and I mean really it's just so unfair. I made a decision that I'm not doing it. Thanks to my colleague/friend, I was able to conquer that nonsense. The Lord knows how to perfectly place people. And it's not like that colleague/friend of mine was insensitive. She had heard all of my stories, blah, blah. I mean, we were working for MTN together, the same time. We started working around the same time. So she had heard all my highs and lows with this guy. And when I finally made a decision to get out, she supported it. Following which, I then gave my life to Jesus, all that jazz. And when I told her this story, she was like, you feel like the chapter has closed? So close the book and move on. Sign the autograph for whoever wants to read it, but do not go back to page 2. Ole go like bibliography, yeah, sisters. I listened to my girl and I moved on. And indeed, he straightened up and flew right. He never died. He ultimately realized that I'm not coming back. You cannot emotionally manipulate me like that. It's emotional blackmail. When I was a kid, there was a story floating around in the car seat. It was like an urban legend about this one like mama that had this like toddler kid that just refused to walk or even crawl. And so mewa tenga munga mubea on a bed yadi roi miri. The mother put her on a bed of red ants, and apparently the baby cried until the baby crawled, until the baby walked, until the baby ran. Of course it wasn't a true story, but it was doing its rounds and we believed it at the time. That guy was like a big fat chunky toddler that should at this point be running and even riding a bicycle, but he does not want to crawl. Leave him on a bed of red ants and he will learn how to run in a minute. I put him on a bed of red ants and he ran. I refused this time to bite. So I suspect that downward spiral that he was in, whatever was going on with him, his arrogance and pomp, he didn't even think to call me and try to reconnect again, like he was still holding fast to the guns. The cousin then gave me a call a couple of months down the line and started to basically try to plead with me to be the one to go back to him, because I suspect his family was observing him self-destruct and be too arrogant to even call me and try to reconnect. His family was like, he did not call me. He's not my baby, he's not my child, he's not my kid. I mean, a mother and a father go and fetch their daughter from a crack house proper, carry her out of there kicking and screaming. That's what parents do. But you don't do, and that maybe that might even be what a wife does, but you don't do that with an ex-boyfriend. Let the mom go carry him out of a crack house proper. That's what I felt like. But the cousin imagined that I was the only thing that ever came into his life that got him to fix himself. So I must just come back literally like a boomerang and continually to have a dude bash me in like I'm a pinata with all of his indifference. Like proper, purely because his family keeps telling me to do that. His family keeps telling me, Karabo, come on. Like, you're the one. That's why I saw. He has not even said that himself. Why are you trying to force me to be with a guy? You realize that he is in a state that he's eventually going to snap out of. You're wise enough. You've got a strong enough sense of intuition as a woman to see that this guy's going to snap out of the crazy spell that he is in. And that by the time he snaps out of it, it might be too late. So you want me to be proactive. Why are you throwing me into the bed of an irresponsible man? When you married. You went and married your husband, who was responsible enough to make an honest woman out of you early, and he's there every home, proper, every day, eating the dinner you have cooked. He's decided to be a better man. So if your man could be a better man and you're married to him, the kind of man that's taking care of you. You want your husband to be among the men in the family that stage interventions in my marriage to your irresponsible cousin. You need to get your act together. Your husband being among the men that stage an intervention because he's the more responsible one. He is among the responsible men in the family. So you marry a good man, and then you want me to go and marry your cousin who is going to cause your husband to stage an intervention for my husband when I finally marry him because y'all made me stay. Monster. If the Lord had not snatched me out of that situation, I would have been held hostage, never mind by my ex, but I would have also been held hostage by his family, who imagined that I was going to be the thing to subdue the thing that is literally erratic and won't sit still. All that I was to that guy was a band-aid on cancer or spraying cologne on a corpse. The root cause was not dealt with, and so I was going to be a miserable wife. Basadi tuwa, tuwe, tlogelang bana ba bang. Ha ba tlogela your deadbeat cousins, your deadbeat sons, and your deadbeat brothers. Leave them to leave. Otherwise, you will bury your deadbeat sons, cousins, and brothers at the hands of this woman that will have put him 6 feet under because she finally snapped. Next part.